Ever wonder how a GPS dog collar works and why some are more accurate than others? I got a chance to review SpotOn's Nova Edition and talk to their co-founder and chief technology officer about how the technology works and how they deploy it to make it their most accurate collar yet. I'm also going to show you my own real-world testing because when it comes to keeping my dogs safe, I like to know for myself that it's going to work every time. But to accurately test that fairly, we first have to look at what influences accuracy and the repeatability in the first place. Because a GPS collar isn't just reading a single coordinate, it's playing a game of constant math with objects moving thousands of miles an hour over our heads. To understand how these collars handle that math, we need to talk a little bit about how GPS works. Let's start with the basics. Satellites in orbit constantly broadcast two key things: the exact time and their position in space. A GPS receiver listens to these signals and measures how long it takes for each one to arrive, so it can estimate the distance from each satellite. These spheres represent all the places the receiver could be relative to each satellite. Where the spheres intersect is what pinpoints the location. With 3 satellites, we can narrow down the position to 2 possible points: one on Earth, at the pin, and one in outer space, which we know we can disregard because there haven't been dogs in space since the 1960s. Okay, so that's the crash course. Let's get a little more technical. GPS, or Global Positioning System, is a specific United States-operated global navigation satellite system, or GNSS for short. GNSS is the broader term that describes all global systems, including those from other nations. Those include GPS from the United States, GLONASS, which is from Russia, Galileo from the EU, and BeiDou from China. But why do multiple systems even matter? Well, first, it's not that they're competing systems. With the right equipment, they can be used concurrently. And that method is method number 1 we use to boost the accuracy of GPS. If a device relies on multiple global navigation satellite systems, it can both increase its chances of getting a satellite signal and boost the accuracy by getting more than 4 signals. Let's take these SpotOn collars, for example. The Nova Edition's receiver uses all 4 satellites, up to 35 satellites at a time, from a total pool of 151 satellites in all 4 networks. So that's it, right? More satellite signals is all it takes? Well, this is actually where I kicked off my conversation with Sung and where I learned something new. So I said to him, my general understanding is that it takes 3 satellites to triangulate a position and a 4th to help correct the receiver from not having an atomic clock. So past that, how does the additional satellite signals help improve accuracy? Or is it simply they're just a failover in case the best signals are lost? Quick interruption from Editor James here. If it looks like Sung is on the road, that's because he took a break from his vacation to talk to me for this video. So hopefully you get as much out of this discussion as I did. Back to the video.
The amount of satellites plays a key role because if you just have 4 or 5 satellites, you don't know where they're spread out across the sky. And the worst possible condition you could have are satellites straight above your, if you're looking at zenith or straight up, that is a recipe for poor positioning. So the more satellites you have, the more spread out they are over the sky. And what it's called is dilution of precision. The way that all these satellites triangulate, they need to be close to the horizon. They need to be somewhat above, but at a 45-degree angle above the horizon as well. So the more spread out, the better positioning, the better calculation the receiver can perform.
Okay, I don't know if you caught that, but Sung highlighted something for me that I didn't know and maybe you didn't either. The position of the satellites plays an important role in the accuracy. If the satellites are directly overhead, there's an effect called the dilution of precision. And ideally, they'll be at a 45-degree angle up above the horizon. Let's illustrate that to show what happens when the satellites are both overhead and clustered together. In the first example, we have an intersection of 2 circles. That helps us find a specific position. Now in reality, these circles actually have error bands, so let's add those in. With those error bands, we can see our true location lies somewhere in this green area. When we move both satellites overhead instead of at 45-degree angles, we can see the intersection of the error band actually increases. This is the dilution of precision. To tie this all back together, for precision we need not just any satellite signal, but we need signals at that ideal 45-degree angle. This is why we see receivers that can access all 4 networks on that global navigation satellite system. So let's go do our first test and see what this means for our testing. Our first environment is wide open, and then I'll introduce some challenges. And what are we looking at? Well, I'm happy to say that this is the tightest spread for repeatability that I have seen so far. So here is the first 4 cones. These are where the first trigger is applied, and then here is the second. This is where the second trigger is applied. So one thing SpotOn has been saying in its literature is that it is the most accurate and then the most reliable. So far in my initial testing here, that does check out. I'll let you guys know that I have not only done 4 runs, I've done quite a few more off camera to test different days to see if it performs differently when it's cloudy or overcast, or if it drifts kind of week to week. So this is my 3rd week of having this in the hand and playing around with it. And with my trusty sprinkler here as a guide, I'm happy to say that it has always been triggering right here in this area. All right, so as a point of comparison for you guys, I did a couple of quick runs with the Halo collar, and I did 8 of them of the initial trigger because the consistency was not as tight as I saw with the SpotOn Nova. So I actually had to pace it out because of how wide this is. It wasn't, 6-foot arm span or half an arm span. This is 15 feet variation for where the initial trigger happens. So how do these stack up? I've done some testing with Halo and Satellite and SpotOn. The Halo 4 has the worst consistency that I've seen out of the GPS collars so far. I got about 15-foot spread. The Satellite collars I tested last month. I saw about a 6-foot spread with those. And then the SpotOn Nova that I've got just over here, 4 feet. So the SpotOn Nova seems to be the most consistent. I think it's going to be more consistent in the woods as well. So with wide open spaces and good unobstructed views of the skies, the Nova leads the pack when I compare to other collars I've tested before. But what happens when we introduce things like trees and other obstacles? Well, as it turns out, there's a word for this, and it's drift. The atmosphere above us is actually one major component, and that's because satellites are 12,000 miles above the Earth, having their signals go through the atmospheric layers. The ionosphere in particular can cause the signal to break up and scatter, but since that's well modeled and corrected for nowadays, I asked Sung what else makes drift a challenge.
The biggest problem and biggest effect to drift is the landscape, like the local environment. So you can't really calculate drift for any particular environment on the surface of the Earth. It'd be impossible, right? So if you have homes that have trees, cars, 2-story, 3-story home, you can't really account for drift.
So what causes signal drift and how do you compensate for it? There's another name for this, and it turns out it's something called multipath. Signals bounce around different surfaces before they reach the receiver, things like glass and metal roofs and buildings, even trees. Sung mentioned even undulating landscapes can cause errors. So how is this fixed? Well, Sung to the rescue again.
And with our system, the SpotOn system, we have the dual band antenna and dual band receiver. It's called L1 and L5, and the L5 band is highly, it was designed to mitigate those bounces. So satellite signals are sent as right-handed circular polarized signals. So they basically travel in a circle. As they bounce around, they become more elliptical. And so when they become more elliptical, that adds drift or the error in all of this. And so what our system does, it does a much better job filtering out those elliptical signals and only allows the circular signals in to be able to calculate a better position.
So in case you missed it, the receiver can tell the difference between a signal that bounced and one that hasn't, and then it prioritizes good signals. You may have seen the real-world impact of this in your own life. Ever use your phone's GPS in the city and your position jumps from one position to another? Well, that's multipath interference. So in theory, the Nova's dual-band antenna should filter out these bounces. Messy signals under heavy trees is where other collars I've found fall short. So we're going to head into the woods to see exactly how many feet of drift we get when there's a dense canopy overhead. Because too much drift can be the difference between keeping Teddy safe or not. All right, so how did we do in the forest? Well, we are pace-worthy out here. So not quite an arm span. It wasn't 6 feet like it was out in the clear skies. I'm about double that. I've got about 12-foot spread here. My first 4 runs looked very consistent, and then it started to deviate a little bit. But 12 feet and some pretty good tree cover, I think is pretty respectable for a GPS collar. All right, so I did get to see the effect of multipath interference. The accuracy did drop some, but fortunately not nearly as much as I've seen from other collars I've tested. But high accuracy under the trees doesn't matter if the collar takes 10 minutes to figure out where it is when you first step outside. This brings me to the final test I like to do. GPS acquisition time, or what I call the squirrel test. I open the front door and my dog bolts after it. Depending on the conditions and what type of receiver you have, like assisted GPS, you might get it in as little as 5 seconds. Devices like smartphones have this assisted GPS. They grab orbital data from things like Wi-Fi and cell phone towers. But if you're not going to rely on that, you might be in a situation what's called a cold start. And that's where the orbital data needs to be downloaded from the satellites themselves. So because these collars can work in areas without a cell phone signal, I asked Sung how the Nova handles that.
So if we look at the use case of the SpotOn collar and fence, it basically stays on all the time. And our antenna and receiver setup, they're both so sensitive that even if you're in your house, it maintains a signal.
Okay, I should have seen that coming. Just leave the GPS on? It seems like an easy solution. However, I've tested other collars that use that same method with mixed results, so you can bet I'm going to put that to the test. All right, so I am in the garage doing my GPS acquisition time test. So this is something I like to do on all the collars I test. I come to a place that I have very bad GPS signal. This is like you're opening your front door, opening a door in your house and letting the dog outside. And then they see something that they want to go chase. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to run out of the house and run towards the boundary. Now the boundary for me is going to be about 150 feet away, and I'm going to see if there is enough time for this to find the GPS and then trigger in its known spot, or if I can run through it. All right, so how did we do on the squirrel test? Well, significantly better than any other collar I've tested so far. If you remember my trusty sprinkler from the earlier test, these are still less than a 6-foot spread, and I was running to the first warning, and in the exact same location as walking up and down the driveway. I think this result can be chalked up to the Nova's better GPS tracking, because what I noticed was in the garage, this wasn't really hunting for a signal. It still had some sense of where I was, and that kind of rings true for when I'm putting it on at the front door. I feel like it gets something through the windows where my other collars typically don't, until the dog steps outside. So as I'm running down the driveway here, it's not really trying to acquire the signal. It had it all along. So impressive result for the acquisition test, because if you've seen some of my other videos, you might know that I reached the road. I ran another 50 feet with some of the collars I've tested. So this is a great result. Some final thoughts. Well, it's positioned as a premium product, and I think my testing helps reflect that. So naturally, the Nova is going to have some higher upfront costs. But if you're committed to using this long-term and you look at the total cost of ownership perspective, this is something that starts to be a compelling option, particularly if you're not a fan of subscription plans. My review on the SpotOn Omni goes into a lot more detail on subscription plans and the cost of ownership and whether or not something like this can really be worth it for you. Go ahead and check that out when you're done watching this. With a lot of GPS collars, you're going to be locked into a monthly subscription fee just to keep the fences running. Here, you don't need a subscription for the actual containment system to work. You only pay for cell phone service if you want tracking and notifications. Now, speaking of notification, this actually leads me to my biggest wish list item for this collar. The Nova Edition is designed to work with or without a cell phone signal. But if you don't have coverage, you won't get those escape alerts. I personally live in a very poor cell phone coverage area. However, I have a Wi-Fi mesh network that covers the couple of acres my dogs are allowed to roam. I could get much faster notifications if the dog collar communicated over a Wi-Fi network. In my conversations with SpotOn, I've actually learned that these collars have a Wi-Fi chip sitting inside them. Fingers crossed, someday we'll get to see that utilized in a future software update. Would I recommend it? Well, it's the most accurate collar I've ever tested. It's American-made, and after having the opportunity to see how passionate and knowledgeable the people who make these are, I'd have to say yes. If you're looking for one of these, take an honest look at that total cost of ownership over a few years, and I think you might agree. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Please consider giving this video a like or subscribing for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.